Cool, guys. So I'm gonna just get into announcements, and then I'm gonna pass the ball to Andre and G Money so they can run their meeting. So last night we ended up with 17 sales. I know our goal was 25. Um, you know, John Wooden talks about how his best team that he ever coached wasn't the most talented. It wasn't the Kareems, right? It wasn't that best team that won 3 championships in a row, right? His best teams was the teams that played full out, the ones that went out to play basketball, just like sweat and tears, right? And they played 100%. And that's what I feel like this team's about. You know what I mean? Even though we're not the most talented, we don't have all the experience, but we play full out. And that's what I appreciate about you guys. So let's continue to do that. And don't worry about the numbers too much. Just worry about yourselves, right? Just worry about how you can go out there and help customers on a daily basis. As long as you're doing, you're playing full out and you're working a full day, you're working the territory effectively, you're maintaining that positive attitude, those 7 habits. As long as you're doing that, then you're being the best version of yourself. So don't worry about the numbers too much. It's gonna come. It's gonna come. We ended up with 17, but it's fine. It's like basketball. It's game time again, guys. So let's go. All right. So we got G Money on the line. We also got Dre, and like I told you guys on GroupMe, these guys are gonna talk about the psychology of sales. Not only that, Dre's gonna talk about some loopholes and some technical ways that you guys can push orders through. So if you guys are having a hard time and you guys are new on in this campaign, take notes and be all ears. And the ones who ask questions are going to be the ones who actually retain this information a lot better. So no further ado, G Money, floor is yours, baby.
Sweet. All right, cool. I wanted to start off with the technical aspect of it. So we're going to go ahead and let Dre take the floor. He's going to go and break down how to push these sales through. So go ahead, Dre.
Gio just likes closing, so he wants to close the meeting as usual. So I'll go ahead and start.
Yeah, baby.
So I just want to talk about how to convert opportunities and money. I feel that for a lot of new guys out there, not only new guys, even guys that have been in the campaign for maybe 2-3 years, right? Like yesterday when Speedy just found out about the dual accounts, right? There's so much change, right? The campaign is constantly adapting, right? When the campaign is constantly adapting, that means we have to adapt as well, right? We have to adapt with the campaign. We have to find different loopholes, different obstacles, different ways to figure out some wiggle room, right? Because that's what we really call it, the wiggle room to slide in that direct TV package, correct? I know, for example, when I was out yesterday with one of my new guys, a sale that we got, he told me that he would have never even thought about getting that sale. So it kind of rung a bell to me that I feel that I should hit you guys with some gems, some different ideas and different ways, because what you guys need to understand, all of us as sales reps, part of our human nature is to figure out loopholes, right? To figure out different ways, right? To get more money, right? We want to all make more money. We all want to make more sales. So I got three ways that I'm gonna go ahead and explain and show you guys on what you need to do to pull out more money. That way we can put more money in your guys' pocket, right? These are 3 ways that I tried over the last 2 weeks that actually got sales to go through. So the first one that I feel a lot of people, I don't want to say walk away from, but the first encounter that I found was in a high existing DirecTV bill. Okay, so a lot of people, they'll find a high bill, right, for a DirecTV bill, and most new guys, they'll be like, oh man, this guy already has a service, he's already paying a lot, right? I'm not really going to be able to help him. So beforehand, that was kind of wrong, but now this is money, man. As soon as you see a high bill, whether it's AT&T, whether it's DirecTV, try to sit down and figure it out. For example, I came across a customer, I want to say last week when I was in San Diego. She had phone and internet. She was paying, maybe overpaying about $20 on the phone and internet side, right? But on the DirecTV side, she was way overpaying. She was paying maybe about 150 for a select, right? So right away, that should ring a bell, right? Even if it's a public, private, if they're paying 150 for one box for a select, you know something's up, right? You know these guys are paying month to month. So the first thing you need to do is you need to prep the customer when you call into DirecTV, because what you need to do is, if you really want to get the sale, you just need to call in and put them on another promotion, right? It's not that they don't know how to do it. They just lack the guidance on what to do, or they don't have the patience to call in. It honestly takes about 10, 15 minutes, and they'll give them a new promotion over the phone on the spot, right? So for instance, there was a customer of mine that was paying the 150 for the select. I knew she was overpaying around $20 on the phone and internet side, right? So I had to make it worth her while. So I told her, I was like, what if I could cut your DirecTV bill, existing one, in half, and then I could save you around 20, 30 here on this bill? Would you be willing to do it? She's like, yeah, how can you do so? And I was like, well, the way we're only going to be able to do it is you add another box. I told her, you have two options. Either A, you could add a box at home for only $15, right? I'll give her a referral. So what I'll do is I'll refer her existing DirecTV account to the home business, right? Which will save her $10 there and $10 here. Or if she wants another account, instead of saying, I'm going to give you a duplicate account, you got to word it a little better. Just let her know, hey, so what I could do is I could either A, give you a home business for $15 a month, or since you have a public account, I could add another box to your business, but we have to add it with DVR since you already have a box, right? And that one would be 30. So then you give them options, right? Most of the time, they're going to tell you the cheaper one, right? Cool, I want to get it at home. Perfect, sounds good. Call into DirecTV, you lower that bill in half. Before you do so, they'll let her know all the guidelines and the principles, because you don't want to call in, lower the bill, and then try to close her and it doesn't go through. And all you did her a favor by lowering that DirecTV bill without you getting paid, right? So make sure she knows. Make sure she knows that it will be a separate bill. Make sure she knows about the first month. Make sure everything she needs to know about the new DirecTV. Once she agrees to everything, perfect. Guarantee her you'll cut that bill in half. You'll call in, right? When they ask, whom are you speaking of? Make sure you prep her that they're going to ask who she's speaking of. You're going to pass the phone on speaker, let her know who she is, have her provide her DBA and her account number, and then you're in, right? Once that happens, the scenario was she was paying 150. They were like, cool, we'll get her down to $55 for the select. Perfect. So I told her, bam, we're going to get the TV down to $70, right? 55 for existing, 15 for home, right? Bam. I was able to figure out a sale out of a customer overpaying on a high DirecTV bill. Why? Because I took action, right? Something that she's been putting away. She hates calling. She hates calling. Honestly, it's not even that bad to call in, right? It takes literally about 10 minutes. They give you a reference number. You have the reference number. You put in her notes, right? And then you go ahead and proceed with the sale. So that was one customer that I got that had a high DirecTV bill. I actually did that again yesterday. So it really works. It really works. The customer I got yesterday was paying $250, and I dropped her DirecTV bill to $90. And I signed her up with a private entertainment at home. I told her, why pay $250 for one account when I could give it to you for $150? I'll give you an account here at the business, and I'll give you an entertainment account at the home. Bam. It was a no-brainer, right? So these are just ideas for you new guys, not only new guys, new leaders, right? Trying to figure out, look for new ways to get a sale, right? This is definitely one that could help you guys. Is there any questions on that one before I move on to the next one? Any questions with finding a high DirecTV bill? What do you want to do? Anything? No, right? Pretty straightforward. So the next one that I found out that you could manage and wiggle your way around is another customer that I came across in San Diego last week was she was paying $40 for a private select, right? It's already at a low rate. There's not really much you could do to lower it, right? On the phone and internet side, I think I was gonna save her only $10, right? So for those of you that are like, oh man, you know, it's hard to sign up a customer when she's paying $85 for phone and internet, right? Like, how am I gonna wiggle a DirecTV room in there? cool. So the way I broke it down to her was, look, I'm going to get your phone and internet, right, for 63 bucks, right? So I'm going to save you $22 here. And then on the DTV side, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and add a referral to that account to a new account, right? So I tell her, look, you got to excite it up. You got to build the hype. So what the hype that I built was, so look, Mr. Customer, right now, due to COVID, since you already have DirecTV at the business, normally before COVID, if you have DTV already, I wouldn't be able to lower your phone to internet. But you're going to love me today. Why? Because of the COVID. So due to COVID now, every customer can get a home business account at their home. So beforehand, you were forced to get the DTV here. And if you already have it, then I'm not going to be able to give it to you again, right? But because of COVID, I'm actually allowed to install it at your home. What do you have at home? And then that's when she tells me, oh, I have internet at home, right? I'm paying 50 bucks with Cox. Perfect. So I could give you internet and TV at home for $48, right? Because we're giving her a referral, right? So we saved her around $7 at home. We saved her roughly another 20 bucks on the phone to internet. And by referring her existing DirecTV to her home, that one went down from 40 to 30. And we saved her another $10 there. So why am I bringing this up? Because there's $20 savings, $10 savings, $15 savings. If you accumulate it all together and you put it in one big pie and you explain to them, all of a sudden I'm showing her 50 bucks of savings from just showing her maybe 10 bucks of savings on the phone and internet, right? So it creates enough wiggle room, is what we like to call it, for you to slide in the DirecTV, right? It's your option if you want to slide it in at 25 bucks or 15, right? Right now, CMC is only charging you 35 bucks per referral. So for me, I'm taking it. It's like Andy said, I like helping these customers as much as I can. If I could give them a cheaper price, why not, right? So that was a second one that I encountered, right? So we have high DirecTV bills, we have low DirecTV bills. You know right away if they have DirecTV and if you're going to sign them up on another account, you can use that account to refer them to another account, right? So that'll take off $10 there. What we're doing is finding ways to find wiggle room, right? Wiggle room, guys. Again, this is what I tell my guys all the time. The higher the wiggle room, the higher the package, right? If you're looking for 20 bucks worth of wiggle room, we got to kind of figure it out, right? So the third encounter, which was honestly probably the easiest out of all of them. And it was really, really interesting to me because I've never done it in the past. And this is the first time I ever did it. So I found a customer that has AT&T internet, right? They have the 24 megabyte. They're paying, I believe they're paying 24 megs with static IP. They're paying 65 bucks. Okay. We are not allowed to remove static IP in regards to the back office, right? They can't remove static IP. They can't remove web hosting, tech support 360, right? Our back office is against taking any of that off the customer's account. However, you and the customer could do it together. Okay. Again, let me tell you, you and the customer could do it together. Okay. And it's how you word it and it's how you play it. So this customer is paying 65 bucks for static IP and 24 megs. So I told him, look, Mr. Customer, for the same speed, I could get you down to 48 bucks. Actually, I told her 58 bucks. I didn't give her a referral. 58 bucks. She's paying 65 now, right? So she understands that she had static IP. She was paying 15 bucks. She said that it was going to be for her credit card, but she says it has nothing to do with her credit card whatsoever. And she's just being charged a $15 charge over and over and over, right? So I told her, cool, look, what I could do is I could lower your rate, but the only way I can is I have to bundle you with the service, right? So I know you're not using static IP. So what I could do is I could give you a service that I could guarantee you'll actually use, right? And I told her, look, for the price that I quoted you, $7 less, I could give you DirecTV and the internet. And she was like, DirecTV, why do I want DirecTV, right? I'm not going to use it, just like the static IP. And I just told her, look, you have a TV right there. All they're going to do is connect the box to the TV and you're going to have it on, right? I'm guarantee you'll watch it, right? They have Disney Channel, Nickelodeon, this and that. I noticed a little 10-year-old boy behind her and he was like, what? Disney Channel? Because he was working with his parents, right? You got to use any kind of fire you have around you. And at first the mom was like, you know what? Nah, I don't want to do it. I'm good. Like, I know my kid, he might watch it, but he's not here all the time. And I was like, look, what if I could give you $100 bill credit and I could cover 4 months of service for you? And then she was like, no way. And I was like, yeah. I was like, I could give you bill credit right now due to COVID. I'm allowed to give you $100 off, right? So that was a deal. That was a no-brainer for her. So back to what I was saying. So beforehand, I tell her, look, so now we have to remove the static IP. Okay. Personally, I can't remove it myself. However, what we can do is remove it together, I told her. So what's going to happen is I'm going to call in. I want you to present yourself, present your name, present the business, and then I'll take over from there. And she was like, perfect, that's fine. I got customers anyway. I don't want to be on the phone with you guys. So I was like, absolutely. We call in. I put the phone on speaker. They ask who's calling. They ask who's her name. They ask the DBA, the account number, the universe PIN. Perfect. She provided all that. I'm in. So, hey, how we doing? So really quick, we just wanted to remove static IP. There was no use for it here on the business. We were told that we needed it, but we don't need it, right? Perfect, no worries. Let me remove that bad boy for you. Removed it in about 5 minutes, gave me a confirmation number. Static IP was off, right? That was 15 bucks of wiggle room that we made to slide into DirecTV, right? So the reason I'm telling you guys is because I can't tell you how many times I came across customers that are paying tech support 360, 30 bucks, web hosting, 15 bucks, static IP, 15 bucks, right? That's like $30 to $60 worth of wiggle room that you could remove off their bill. Obviously, if they're not using it, again, you need to investigate if they're really using it, because there's customers that tell you they're not using it, and the moment you remove that, they need it, and then they're going to be bugging you, right? So you have to reassure that they don't use it whatsoever. And once you get that reassurance, the rest is history, man. You just remove that, you add the DTV, right? So these are 3 ways that I guarantee you will get you guys a sale today if you find or encounter a customer within one of these problems. I can't tell you enough. These have been the 3 easiest ways for me to get a deal in an area where they tell you, oh, somebody's been here. Oh, they were just here yesterday. Oh, they were here 2 weeks ago. Oh, they were here today, right? And the reason being is because I guarantee you, some of you guys probably didn't know that you could do some of these things. And, you know, for example, my new guy, Fernando, yesterday, he told me after we walked out that cell, he was like, dude, I would have never got that cell. I would have never even knew to do that. I wouldn't even figured it out. And the reason being is because we're not showing you guys other ways to make more money. So those are 3 ways that really work for me. Again, the main points is you just have to teach your customer. You have to coach them right. Especially when you call into AT&T, you don't want to act as the customer, right? Because that's fraud. You just want to make sure you do your work very well, and the rest will come. I can guarantee you again, man, you're going to find a customer today that's going to have a DirecTV bill. And the way you have to sell it is just sell it like, man, look, I can give it to you at home. You're going to love me. Actually, right now, due to COVID, every business owner qualifies to get a home account, right? Why is home better than residential? It's cheaper, right? You don't have to worry about calling in, removing channels, removing movie channels. It's a flat rate. It's guaranteed for you, right? Bam. And you'll more likely get more sales and put more money in your pocket. I can guarantee you guys. That's about all I have on my aspect, technical part. I do want to open up, though, for questions before we do get to Gio.
Hey,
Is there any questions out there that you guys are facing?
Dre, can you hear me?
Yeah.
I have a comment. So that last point that you mentioned where you remove static IP or like examples like that, I do that shit all the time. But when I flip over the Uverse bill and I see that shit, I get hella excited. But I ask them, I'm like, did you know you're paying $30 a month for tech support 360?
Yeah. Hell yeah. So I build that pain, right? So what I do is when I look at the bill and I go, wow. I was like, why are you being charged $30 a month extra right here? I was like, it's as much as your internet. And then he's like, what is it? I was like, you have a website with us? We created you a website. Most of the owners are like, God, get pinche website, get vergas. All right. They don't know. They're like, what the hell? They're like, I don't know what the hell you're talking about, right? But be careful, because you don't want to build that pain too much. Because I've also had a customer tell me, like, you know what? F that. I don't want to do shit. I'm going to call them. I want my money back for the 3 years that they've been charging me this and that. So you need to be careful, because sometimes you'll have to weather those kind of storms, right? People hate finding things on their bills that they've been paying maybe for 2-3 years. And if you do the math, that's a lot of money, right? So they do kind of have a point in that regard. But yeah, man, definitely, I love to show them that they're being charged extra charges and they have to be careful and they have to review their bill, because that's usually what happens after the year, right? When you're no longer in promotion, you didn't call in, they'll start throwing extra charges your way, right? So I just coach them, look, man, every year call in, renew your promotion, make sure your price is okay, and this shouldn't happen again, right?
Hey, Trey, if I may, I kind of angle it a little bit different. I look at it and I show them like their bill, and then I tell them, because usually on the U bill, if you look at the internet, it shows promotional offer. Even
Yeah.
$6 for 24 megs, it still says promotion. I'm like, oh, you guys probably got it because it was part of a promotion back then. But you got to do it. And then usually they say no, or they don't even know what it is. And I tell them that they pretty much don't need it. And I'm like, look, there's a new promotion. And then I just swap out the promotion. You know what I mean?
It's in the TV, right? Yeah, it's perfect. It's perfect. Yeah, it's really how you word it, man. But, don't walk away when you guys see hidden charges, right? And then obviously another one that we brought up yesterday that, I mean, I guess this is what happens when you switch campaigns. I haven't worked AT&T since the start of this year. I totally forgot about the eFax, man. I totally forgot that you could convert a customer's phone line to eFax. This is only in a UVerse bill. Again, this is not a POTS bill. This is a UVerse bill. If they're paying $30 or whatever for a VoIP line and they tell you, I have a fax, but I don't even use it, right? Cool. Well, look, for $10 a month, you get about 100 faxes a month, right? You think you use more than 100? No? Perfect. You convert that line from 30 to $10, you just gain $20 worth of wiggle room right there to kind of slide into DirecTV. So again, it's just all about finding wiggle room, finding ways, right? It's very rare when you come across a customer and they're paying $150 for one landline, right? Those are the ones where like, oh, yeah, like a hidden gem. Thank God we found a low-hanging fruit, right? But sometimes there's orders that are maybe not so low-hanging where you got to take a little step and just kind of reach down and grab it, right? And there's others that are a lot harder to do so. But, don't shy away from orders that you could try to figure something out to get that wiggle room. That way you can slide into DTV. But that's about all I got for you guys. Again, do you guys have any questions regarding finding a high bill, a low bill for DirecTV, any kind of charges, anything? Any questions for me right now? Nope. Cool. So we're going to pass it on to G Money. G Money is going to go ahead and talk about the psychology behind the sale and what it takes for you to get a customer to just like you.
Yeah, it's not that hard, but that's an important step. All right, guys, I'm going to bring you guys some magma hot content right here, but I got to go live on Instagram for this. Give me 1 second. So today we're going to be talking about the psychology of a sale. You guys that have made sales, you're already doing this, all right? So you guys already have it subconsciously. Now we're just going to put it into context and make it all very conscious. What's up, Instagram? We're going live. We're talking about the psychology of a sale. So you guys heard this before. All sales is a transfer of energy, right? Like your conviction is what convinces the customer to go ahead and sign up because you're so convinced and so sold on the product that you sell them. And that's just what it is. It's transfer of energy. That's why when we're training you guys on the mentality, we're teaching you guys, you got to make sure you maintain that positive mental attitude. You've heard this like 1,000 times from me, but it's important because if your energy is negative, you're not going to make a sale with negative energy. You're going to make a sale because you're funny, you're charismatic, you're charming, you're smooth, you're suave, all that. So to get a sale, I was really thinking about it. I was like, every time I make a deal, I'm gonna try to analyze. I'm like, what's going on? What works? And I was like, man, I make them like me. Like in the actuality of everything, I make them like me, and that's why they sign up with me. So how do you make somebody like you? That's the question of the year, if you think about it. You gotta be their friend. You gotta be a friend to make a friend, I feel. So when I walk into a business and I'm talking to the owner, a lot of times they look at you sometimes with even disgust because you're just like a solicitor, scum salesman, right? But if you come at them charming and friendly, they're not going to hit you with like all that nastiness because then your energy is positive. So if they're not in a shit mood already, they'll respect that and they'll be like, oh, this guy's pretty badass. He's pretty cool. It all starts with how you guys come in. You guys got to be friendly to make a friend. So let me go more in detail on the psychology behind that. So you walk into the business, you're friendly. But what does that mean? Mr. Stephen Hang is always talking about, he calls the old lady mama, the dude in the back papa, right? That's funny. That's kind of like cool. Like, that's not a typical robotic salesman that comes in. That's the charming young man, right? If someone comes into the business and they're like, oh, papa, I got you. Don't worry, you pay too much. He's all friendly and buddy. Now the business owner is going to like him because he's treating him like a friend, like you're already friends. That works. That's why Steven's a top producer, because he's really good at making people like him. So real simple. You could be charming, you could be charismatic, you could be funny. Funny is huge in sales. I'm taking a master class of Brad Lee in terms of sales, and he talks about being funny is such a huge key in sales. People like funny people. Girls love funny people, right? If you think about it, if you're funny, people for some reason like you. So I encourage you guys to try to add some humor into your mix. A lot of mistakes that these new guys, when they come in, they're so serious and trying to not mess up that they end up coming off like a robot. And nobody wants to do business with a robot. You know, they want to do business with somebody that shows that they care for the owner, right? So I was also reading this book. It's called How to Win Friends and Influence People. And in that book, Dale Carnegie talks about, like, in sales, what if you look at everybody as if they had like a sign around their neck that said, I want to feel important. Make me feel special, right? So if you walk into a business and you look at it from that perspective, from that lens of like, okay, let me not just try to read my pitch verbatim as I've read it for the last 30 doors. Let me just try to like make this person feel important, make them feel special. That's the key. That's the key ingredient. If you have made a sale before, you're already doing this subconsciously. I want you guys to like consciously be aware of what you're doing. That way you could be more consistent with your sales. So if you walk into the business and you're all funny and charming and whatever, but you listen to the customer actively, and you don't just try to like generically give a pitch, but you're also trying to like, what are their pain points? Really trying to like help them out with their specific issues. Now it seems like they're important to you. Now it seems like, oh wow, this AT&T guy he actually cares about me. He actually is listening, and that makes them feel important. So a lot, like going back to it, a lot of the mistakes that my newer guys are doing when they're walking in, they're just reading a pitch, very monotone, very robotic, very boring if you really analyze it. But that's a mistake. You got to walk in there, be lighthearted. You know, sometimes they are assholes to you, but you know, you got to maintain that positive attitude. Just keep going. You got to be funny. Try to be charming. You know, you already know what to do, man. It's not a secret like what it takes to be charming. You got to just shoot your shot to the best of your ability. So that is like the fundamentals in terms of like what works. You got to make them your friend. You got to be an active listener, make them feel special. And it's the transfer of energy. But now I want to get into a little bit more of a sophisticated talk with you guys about what it actually takes to make the sale. Because it's one thing to get the person to like you. Now you got to use that to your ability and transfer it over to getting a paycheck, right? So the number one thing that some salespeople fail to do when they're not making consistent sales is they're not asking for the sale. Now you guys are like, Gio, what does that mean? Okay, when you ask for the sale, you literally are giving them the offer and then telling them to tell you yes or no. So to give you an example, what I do, sometimes I'm like, okay, look, Mr. Customer, you're paying right now $250 for Spectrum, phone and internet. If I could do phone, internet, and TV with AT&T for $85 a month, what do you think? Do we have a deal? And I extend my hand. That's asking for the sale. You must ask for the sale. The customer, I've said this before, they're not going to close themselves. You're hired as a sales rep because you got to close. That's your value. That's the value that you bring to the table. You're a closer. So closers ask for the sale. Closers get the sale, right? So you have to ask for it. If you don't ask for it, it doesn't matter how much the customer likes you. He's not going to sign up with you. He's just going to be like talking with you as a friend, chilling, you know, which is cool. It's awesome. But you got to use that to get paid, baby. That's the whole reason we're out here. So ask for the sale. One, you got to get them to like you. That's a given. If they don't like you, no matter what product you're trying to offer, they will never buy from you. So you have to get them to like you. But moving more forward than that, you have to ask for the sale. So don't do yourself the disservice and leave the sale just dangling in the air. You got to like close the guy, okay? You got to ask for the sale. I was watching this YouTube video with Grant Cardone, and he was talking about like the best sales tips he could give all salespeople. And one of the sales tips that he was giving was really simple. And I was like, damn, I didn't really think about it like that. But he put it into context, and now I'm consciously aware of it. He said that you have to write up the customer. So when you're doing the order form and you're writing it up, that's what I mean. You're writing up the customer. You have to do it because every deal that you've ever closed, you wrote up. That's just a given, right? Every deal you've ever closed, you wrote it up. So it's important that if you think you're going to make the sale, start writing. One thing that I try to teach my guys is like, you got to assume the sale. You got to already assume that they're going to say yes because you gave them that offer. You already asked for the sale and they're vibing with you. So you start writing that shit up. You don't stop until they tell you, no, stop, right? You want to keep going. So don't forget to write up the sale, man. You got to write that shit up because the customer, he doesn't even know what the order form looks like, you know? So now I know I'm teaching you guys like what to do, but now you guys are like, fuck, dude, how am I going to implement it myself? Let me show you. This is what I do. What I do that works really well for me is I'm like, once I ask for the sale and they're like, yeah, cool. I'm like, okay, look, Mr. Customer, let me do this. Let me write it up on the form on paper so you can see visibly what it looks like on paper. And then what I want from you is you tell me, yes, we have a deal, or no, get the fuck out of here. And then usually that works every time. They let me write that shit up, no problem. And business owners, I love business owners. I love business to business. I love what we do. It's way better than residential sales. And I've been in residential sales, and that just sucks because residential, they're all emotional. It doesn't matter if you can save them money. They don't care. They it's all emotion. With business, however, it's slightly less emotional and a lot more numbers. So if you already know what they're paying with Spectrum, if you already know what they're paying with AT&T, it doesn't matter. If you can show them mathematics on paper, contract, like this is what's going to happen, because business owners, they own, like the majority only care about making a profit. If it saves them a dollar, guess what? You got a deal. But it's on you, man. You got to close the deal. So the deals are made mathematically based, but it all starts with them liking you. They must like you. If they don't like you, you don't got a deal. If they do like you, you're in there somewhere, you know? But you got to transition them from liking you to you asking for the sale to you writing that shit up. Okay? So let me go over it one more time. I want you guys to like try to keep this in your pocket. So when you guys are in the field, you guys are like, all right, G Money taught me this. I'm going to try it out. Because that shit works. That shit works, baby. I get paid every week. So what I tell them is, all right, Mr. Customer, let me do this. Let me write it all on paper so you can see what it looks like on paper. And I want you to tell me yes or no. So I'm already preempting him to give me a yes or no answer. I don't want none of that bullshit. Let me think about it. I don't want, let me talk to my partner. I don't want none of that shit. That all, because I'm telling him, tell me yes or no, I'm giving him a direct command. He's going to be like, if he accepts my offer in terms of like letting me write it up and telling me yes or no, that already eliminates all that. Let me think about bullshit. Let me talk to my wife. Let me sleep on it. I'm not selling you a pillow, man. I'm selling you freaking savings, baby. I'm selling you DirecTV, baby. So one more time. All right, Mr. Customer, let me write it up on paper. And what I want from you is I want you to tell me yes or no. Okay. And usually they say, oh, okay. Because it's not a commitment. It's just like you're just going to show them a quote in their head. But then you're a closer. You're a closer, baby. So you start closing once you're already showing them mathematically. So then you start filling out the order form. And that's what you do, man. You just fill out the order form and you close, baby. So I know it's really simple, but it's true. You have to make them like you. You have to make them like you. You can't go away around that. You can't be a monotone salesman and expect to be successful. You can't. You can't expect customers to just fall on your lap and sign themselves up. Yes, this is a beautiful opportunity we have. Yes, you could make a lot of money. Yes, you could be making a killing. Yes, all that. However, it is entirely on you to kill and hunt and take that deal. If you don't close, you fail. If you don't close, your whole family is like ashamed of you right now. But if you do close, you're holding it down, man. You're a cornerstone. If you're a closer, you're a cornerstone, baby. So I want you guys to be closers and cornerstones for your family. When you start making a lot of money, that shit changes your life in a good way. So all these things that we're teaching you is very important. You don't just take it like, oh man, it's just another call. Oh man, it's Thursday. You know, I gotta wake up. Oh, let me hop on the call. No, man, take this advice, take it to the bank, baby. I want you to implement it. Implement what we teach you because this shit works. So I'm gonna just hammer down my main points, and then what I want to do is open it up for a little Q&A before we go into the high rollers. So my main point: everything's energy based. Your conviction is what sells. Your friendliness is what gets them to like you. Okay, don't be robotic, bro. You're already a cool guy, a cool girl. You already have friends. You know what to do. Now you just got to use it in the field. You know, don't be scared just because you're talking to new people. Don't be scared because you never met this guy before. You never met half your friends before in your life, and they're your friends. You know, you're a friendly person already if you have friends. There might be like maybe 0.01% of you that don't have friends. I'm your friend. But make friends, ask for the sale, and write that shit up. Because if you don't write it up, everybody loses. But if you do write it up and you start doing what I'm teaching you, you're gonna make more sales and you're gonna make more dollars. Okay? So with that being said, I want to open it up for a Q&A for you guys. So I want to do something kind of interesting. I want to go down the list of names right here, just randomly, and I want to ask people questions. I want them to ask me a question. So let's start with Carlos Hernandez. I see Carlos Hernandez on the call. Ask me a question, Carlos, and make it a juicy question that everybody can benefit from. Eddie on the call. Eddie, I want you to ask me a question, but make it a juicy question that everybody can benefit from.
All right. Yo.
Yo. What up, Eddie?
I pretty much just, hey, what up, bro? So the question is like you were pretty much saying it though, like how like you write someone up, you get them all almost done, and then they're like, okay, let me talk to my associate and all that. Like that I get that kind of a lot sometimes. Like I don't really, and then I feel like I kind of could have got that stuff. I walk away like, damn, I messed that up.
Okay, so when you run into that, what I do that works is I tell them to call them right there at the spot. Like if they truly do have a partner where they do have to run all the decisions by, I tell them to call them right there. So sometimes like the other partner is like working at a different job or something, so he's like busy and he can't call. That's an exemption, but you should always, you know, use the resources to their max ability and try to make sure that like you try your best to get in contact with both of them. But that sounds like a follow-up, bro. They say that fortune is in the follow-up, so I would follow up with that.
Yeah, for sure. I follow up on all of those calls, but yeah. Sometimes I do walk out like, damn, I feel like I should have pushed it more, you know. But yeah, you're right. I've never asked them to like, you want to talk right now?
Bro,
I've never done that one.
In sales, I know people like they have a negative stigma towards aggressive salespeople, but guess what? Aggressive salespeople make the most money. If that's not what we're here for, I don't know what we're here for. Bro. Be aggressive, bro, and you're gonna make us aggressive. But I'd rather you be aggressive than be aggressive enough. You know what I mean? Dark side, baby. Woo. All right.
Thank you for that. Yeah.
brother. We got Fernando G. Gonzalez. Ask me a question, brother.
All
Something
right.
that.
So say that you do have follow-ups, right?
Mhm.
And so you keep going to the follow-up, and then they keep saying, "Oh, he's not in," or like he's out for the week. You come back, and then they say the same thing over and over again. What are you gonna do?
All right. You say over and over again. How many times did you truly follow up with that customer?
Honestly, I with that customer, I did 3 times,
Okay.
and I was just like, you know what? All right,
Yeah.
cool.
Andy sent the statistics not that long ago. It said that most sales happen after the 8th follow-up by the salesman. Now that's extreme for like our industry. Usually we close on the first date. However, I did actually have a lot of cases where my follow-up, I had to like follow up 8 times to close a guy, or 12. But my strategy is like whenever I do follow up, I follow up with all the follow-ups in the whole area, because undoubtedly there's like multiple people that at least showed a little bit of interest, or you couldn't talk to the owner. So whenever I follow up with that one customer, I'll follow up with all the neighbors as well. And then sometimes like I'm focusing so much on this follow up, but then because I use my strategy and I follow up with the neighbors, I make another sale on the neighbor, and it's like, oh shit, I forgot about you. But because I follow up, fortune's in the follow up, baby. So just, when in doubt, follow up. That's my saying. All
I
right,
wanted to add to that too, Gio.
go for it.
Make sure that when you guys do your follow-ups, either do them in the beginning of the day or do them at the end of the day. You never really want to do follow-ups in the middle of the day. Reason being is because when you do them the beginning of the day, you take care of all of them, and then you can focus on new money, right? And if you do them at the end of the day, same exact thing. You focus on new money in the beginning of the day, and then all those follow-ups at the end of the day, by the time you close everything, they're just bonus sales that are just added to you, right? So either do them in the beginning of the day or do them at the end of the day. That is my biggest advice in regards to time management for you guys.
Yeah. Also, try to set an appointment, because follow-ups are awesome. Follow-ups are great, but what's even better than just a random follow-up is a appointment. So like, let's say for example, because all right, before I say that, your job as a salesman is every time you engage the customer is to move the sales process forward at least a little bit, move the sales process forward. So with that being said, you want to take it to the next step each time. So if I show up and they're like still busy or whatever, now before I leave, I want to get a definite date and time where I could get the customer's full attention. So I would encourage you to ask for appointments, because if you set up an appointment, they'll honor it most of the time, and you show up and now they're like attentive to you. And if they're attentive to you, it's all math. It's all numbers. So if you could do it mathematically, you can make a deal,
And make
So
sure you're punctual with that time. Show up 10 minutes early. You'll be surprised what that shows to the customer.
right.
When I was in San Diego with Rudy, he had a follow-up at 12 and he showed up at 11:50, and the guy tells him, he goes, "You're early." And he goes, "I'm ready for you." The guy was like, "I like that." We closed his ass.
I'll clap for that guy. Good shit, Rudy. Okay. We do have other people that I want to get a question out of. I see Jasmine with 2 Z's on the call. Jasmine, ask me a question.
Okay, I just like went out on the field yesterday, so I'm still kind of getting the hang of it. A question. How long do you usually like take trying to convince someone for a sale?
Oh, that's a good question. How long do I try to take to convince somebody for sale? So, I mean, it ranges from like 2 minutes to 2 hours, because like I was going over it in the beginning, you got to make everybody feel special. So you can't look at it as like, oh, everybody's just a number. This is just another customer. Because each customer is a different person. Each customer has their own story that has different needs that, takes longer than some. So it all depends. I don't want you guys to look at it that way. I want you guys to look at sales not as, oh, this is just another customer. Look at it as like, this is like, a special person that needs attention, and then they have their own little needs. But I've made sales in like 2 minutes. Like I walk in there and I'm like, hey guys, and then they're they're sick of Spectrum or whatever, and then they're like, yeah, I want AT&T, and then they sign right away without even me filling out the form. So I've had that happen. But then I've had negotiations where I'm like with them for an hour, and I'm just like, dude, how are you gonna stay with Spectrum? You know, so it all depends. It all depends. To answer your question, I don't know if I answered it however you wanted me to, but that's the truthful answer from my
Yeah,
perspective.
that's fine.
All right, cool.
Thank you.
We got Ryan. You're welcome. We got Ryan Moore on the call. I want Ryan Moore to ask me a question.
Ask you a question. All right. When do you determine that the customer is completely bought into you? What's kind of like a sign that you can tell that the customer is ready?
When they're not telling me no. So my perspective is like, if they're not telling me no, they're telling me yes. You know, because if they're not telling you no, then that means they're either on the fence or they're already bought in, right? There's only 3 possibilities. Either they're on the fence, they're no, or they're yes. So if they're not telling me no, that means that they're on the fence. And if they're on the fence, I could put them over to the yes, you know. And if they're a yes, then that's a yes. So that's how I look at it. You know, if they're not telling me no, it's a yes, because I could convince them. That was a good question. That's kind of interesting. All right, let's get one more in. Let's talk to Mr. Flores. I have trouble pronouncing your first name because there's like 2 O's in there. Joao Flores.
It's Joel. The name is Portuguese. That's why a lot of people have a hard time.
Bro, it's badass.
So my question would be, like, how would you know if they're not wasting your time? Like, what are the signs that they're not just playing you? You know?
Oh, okay. How do you know they're not wasting your time?
Yeah.
So in sales, it's all a transfer of energy, right? That's how I started
Mhm.
off. So you have to be able to read the energy, the vibe. You know how people say like, "Oh man, I like your vibe. That vibe. That person has a negative vibe, bad vibes." That whole thing of like vibrations, I truly believe that metaphysical aspect of reality is a real thing. So like you gotta feel the energy, bro. The vibe that you're feeling, you gotta trust you as a human being have these like sensors in you that are able to sense the vibe around you, and you could feel it. And I know you know the answer to this question because you could feel it when you feel like they're wasting your time. That's when they're wasting your time. If you feel like, oh bro, I have a deal waiting right here, then you have a deal. You know, like you could feel it. So have you been in those cases where like, man, I feel like he's just wasting my time? Have you been there?
Yeah. Sometimes I've been there in one situation where I was feeling that way, but I kind of was a little bit patient about it, and I got a deal done because of that.
Okay.
Sometimes I get my gut feeling tells me something, but I'm like, you know what, I'm gonna be patient about it, and it pays off sometimes.
Can we go into that? I want to go into that situation. Like, can you elaborate what was going on? Why did you feel like he was wasting your time in the beginning? Because he was
Oh
busy.
well, we were at a nails. I think we were at a. I think it was a. I think it was a nail salon, and this lady was just giving us. She was just asking so many questions, and she just wasn't all in. She would just question everything, like, oh, like I hear things in the news that, like there's people stealing money and stuff like that. And she was just giving us a hard time, and she just wouldn't want to sign it, but she would indicate like she wants to save money and all that, but she was, she wasn't too. I don't know. She was just playing us. It was like both sides. Like, yes, I'm interested, but no, I'm not. And she just kept it going for like a good like 45 minutes. But we ended up just being patient about it, and she ended up just going all in.
So that's a perfect example of what I mean when somebody's like, they're not telling you no, but they're on the fence, right? So if they're not telling you no, they're on the fence, you could close them. And that's what you did, right? You got a sale off of that. So that's what I'm talking about. I do say, like, if they're giving you bad vibes and they're telling you, like, bro, like, I hate AT&T, fuck your company, this and that, then, that they are wasting your time. But if they're telling you stuff like that where they're semi-interested, then that's a deal. I would try my best to close that deal.
Okay, thank you, G Money.
Yeah, you got it, brother. All right, cool, guys. So let's go over real quick.
Can I add to that?
Oh, who's that? Ken? What's up, Ken?
Yes. Hey, how you guys doing? So regarding that, I mean, this is I would say it's my specialty and the reason why I'm successful in the field because I don't spend a lot of time with customers and I don't I look at the sale as just value. How much value can I add someone? And if I add tremendous value, I'm going to stay there. And if I can't, I disengage, right? So I really don't try to get people to like me more than they should. They should just respect me. They should just know that I'm professional and they should know that I'm there to help them save some money, right? But unlike residential, you don't have to pet their dogs and kiss the baby and things like that, right? So with that being said, I like playing poker a lot, right? And poker, when I first started, I try to read people all the time, trying to see their body language, trying to like see if they're scratching their face or they're blinking their eyes, all this stuff that you read about reading people. I actually gave up on that, right? Because unless I'm playing with my friends, I'm not gonna be able to read this person within the hour I'm playing poker, right? And that's how it's like in the field. It's hard to read people because you don't know these people. You don't know what's going on. You don't know what's in their mind, what's going on within their head, right? So rather than doing that, there's an easier way to figure out if the customer is really up for the sell, right? And the way you do that, the way I learned to become better at poker was I start to test my opponent, right? I start to test to see if they really have a hand, right? And sometimes I might lose a little bit, right? But I know right now if I'm wasting my time or I'm gonna lose more money and stuff like that. So I want to really test to make sure I'm not wasting too much time because time is money. It translates to money. If you guys don't understand that yet, you will really fast. An hour you spend with a customer would be another hour that you're missing out on the sell at the next door. So I look at that. I'm always like kind of concerned when a customer is taking too much of my time because they're taking technically our money, right? So a few things you can test to sell. One, you want to ask for the bill right away, as soon as possible. I think within 10 minutes. As soon as you can identify a problem, they confide in the problem with you, explain how the service is bad, this, that, and the other. This is your opportunity to say, let me see your bill. Let me see what speed you really have. Let me see your bill. Let me see if I can really save you money. I do my best, right? I don't want to over deliver. I always go like that. Even though, I'm optimistic that I'll save them money, I always say, let me see your bill. Let me see what I can do since I'm here already, right? If they go get the bill, that customer is a little bit over the fence, right? This imaginary fence that Gio's talking about. I'm trying to figure out which side of the fence they're on fast as possible. And my timeline is about 5 to 10 minutes max. Right? If I can't get this customer to get the bill within that time, that customer is not worth my time because that customer is going to take too much of my energy and time. I may lose that sale, but I will win other hands. I will find other customers that's easier, and at the end of the day, I will have a better attitude about it, right? Because nothing frustrates me more than someone wasting my time. Right? I just leave the door, it'll take me like 5, 10 minutes to go to the restroom and like prime up because I'll be frustrated too much that guy just took my time and wasn't with it. So I hope that answered it. You got to set up things to test the sell to see if this customer is going to move forward, right? So the best way to do that, while you're learning, it's hard to really read customers. It's through experience you'll understand better which customer's with it or not. So to help you guys when you're new, while you're learning and kind of creating this blueprint in your mind in terms of which one's a good customer, which is a bad customer, I think test the sell, right? Ask for the bill. Ask when's a good time for the verification to call you, right? Ask, do you want where do you want your TV at? Would that be a good place to get that TV? You think the customer would like it there? And see what they say, right? So that's what I would do. I would control the sell more than read the customer. I want to see if this customer is with it or not. And the best way to do that is to try it, right? You got to ask for that first date, and then you ask for the second date, right? So you got to really set up little mini tests to see if this customer is going to be your customer and not waste your time. So that's what I want to say about that.
That's right. 100%, Ken. That was great. I forgot to even mention how important the whole bill is in the whole process of the sale. Like, that's such a key process, that whole bill. Getting that bill tells you a lot how you can make a sale. So the new guys that don't know, the bill tells you everything. So you want to get that bill. We're over here talking about bills of like phone and internet, but you guys got to understand how important that little thing is. That tells you how to sell them, what to sell them, pretty much. Andy, do we want to go over high rollers? I know we're about to finish off at 10. Rosalina, right? That's her name. She was the highest roller. She got 3 on yesterday. She made like $1,000 or something, but she's not on the call. So I don't know. Do you want us to go over it or no?
Yeah, did you want me to go over it or you want to go over it?
I mean, because we can't have her talk because she's not here, you know.
Okay, is Speedy on the line?
Speed's not on the line either. I already checked. We have Vivian on the line. She got 1 up. Good job,
Okay,
Vivian. Line.
cool.
Let's do Vivian.
I
What
can.
works today?
Oh, never mind.
I'm sorry, I couldn't hear you at first. Go ahead.
Okay, what worked for you yesterday? You got up a deal. You closed somebody.
What worked for me, what worked for me is having patience and maintaining my attitude.
Okay, how do you
Basically maintaining my attitude. Sorry, what was that?
how do you maintain your attitude?
How do I talk to myself? I self-talk myself. I make sure, this is just a sell. This is just like any other customer, and it's a LOA, law of averages. And the customer was just being just like how the other guys were saying. The customer was asking a lot of questions. I mean, which is normal. And we're basically there to assist them. And they were iffy. They were saying yes, and then they were like, oh, I don't know if I want to do this anymore. But I just made sure I built that relationship with the customer. I made sure they understood everything. I rehashed like 3 times. And that's pretty much what worked for me. Just building that relationship. Like Ken said, I asked for the bill at the beginning, like in the first 5-10 minutes, and the customer did give me their bill. So that's a perfect indicator. Obviously, if they didn't need help or they weren't really looking to better their situation, they wouldn't have given me that bill. But by the customer giving me the bill, they're letting me know that they trust me. And I know that I have something going on there if they trust me with their bill.
Absolutely. Was it an AT&T customer or was it a Spectrum?
It was an AT&T customer.
Oh, sweet. So you helped them out. Nice.
Mhm.
Okay, cool, guys. Don't forget, guys, when we're out there in the field, it's easy. Literally helping people out. We get paid to help people out. So think of it like that. When you're out there, don't look at him like, oh, it's just another dollar. Because, I mean, it is. Don't get me wrong. But you're helping them out. And that's how you get paid. So let's go
Right.
out there.
I have one more thing. I'm interested to know, Andy, haven't been in the field for a few months now. You went out there, you traded a girl named Stephanie, and you ended up with 3 sales. What worked for you out there, Andy?
Yeah, it's 2 submitted under her name and then 1 under submitted mine. So that's why you only see 1 verified. But man, the first 2 hours was tough. She sent in the area we went to. It was a Spectrum populated area. Like I don't know if you guys notice now, but when you guys are out in the field, you can really see if that area that you're working is really saturated with Spectrum area or Spectrum customers. If it is, you're fighting an uphill battle. That's just my opinion. And with my experience, with the niche that we have, I don't try to spend too much time there unless a customer is willing to just switch because they hate Spectrum. And we found that customers 2 hours in. Luckily, right? They say the harder you work, the luckier you get. That was my first customer. And then we relocated to another area where AT&T was saturated, and they were complaining like, "Hey, my bill's too high, internet's too slow. Help me out." Like, they wanted my help, and that was how we got the 2 easy sales at the end of the day. So for the new guys, if you're in an area where there's a lot of Spectrum customers and they love it, I hate to play this territory game, but be smart about it. If you're gonna spend 2 hours on 1 sale on Spectrum, where you can spend 2 hours getting 2 sales with AT&T, I would get those AT&T customers, the low hanging fruits. Okay, leave the win backs for the Geos, for the Andres, for the Mo's, just because right time is money, and you want to maximize your time out there. But that's what works for me, again. Nothing much.
Sweet. All right. Well, thanks everybody for being on the call on time. I know we went a little over. I hope you guys have an excellent day. Let's go out there and let's get paid, baby.